Well, hello and welcome. Welcome to the internet and welcome to my channel. It's Odio. That's me again. And I'm back with another review of X-Men 97. And we're at episode 5 now, halfway through the season. And let me tell you, this episode is epic. So to me, my X-Men fans, let's take a look at this one. Yeah, so this is an awesome episode. I want to say the tone changes. There's a lot of holy cow moments in this, so buckle up. But anyway, we start off, and Genosha has now been accepted into the UN. So they're sending a reporter around, and they're doing interviews with the X-Men, asking them kind of what they think about it. They're interviewing pretty much everyone. Beast gets an interview. He's kind of blushing in there. There's some funny moments. Jubilee, you see her getting interviewed. Pretty much everyone gets a shot at getting interviewed, except for a couple of holdouts, which we'll get to later. And Cyclops goes in for the interview, and obviously when they're asking him questions, he's the new leader and stuff like that, so they're going to have a little bit deeper questions. But they ask about Nathan, right, his kid, and anyways, he doesn't like that. Things kind of go off, and then he pretty much says that normal people are lucky that mutants aren't like them, because otherwise we'd all be dead. Which is probably true, because he even says, like, yeah, I fight, like, crazy aliens, robots, monsters, just to make sure you guys don't die. And then, the dude at the hospital wouldn't even deliver his baby. So, but anyway, yeah, Nathan obviously got sent to the future in the other episode, so he had to give him up. So it's a soft spot, and like, anyway, he gets pretty upset and leaves. So that kind of just ruins the whole vibe of the interviews. But they were pretty fun before that. And anyway, that's what's going on at the mansion. And while that's going on, Gambit, Rogue, and Magneto are on their way to Genosha, the mutant island, the land that's now going to be accepted into the UN. So they're flying out there, and Magneto and Rogue are kind of like, Magneto's like, feels kind of like Gambit's a third wheel here. And I think Gambit knows that and doesn't care. He just loves Rogue and doesn't like Magneto, I don't think. They've been enemies for years, so it makes sense. Anyway, they're flying in. They make a couple of pretty funny cracks here. It's honestly, the writing is great. Like Gambit says something like, oh, we don't always need all three of us there. And Magneto's like, well, if the plane crashes, only one of us is going to be challenged with the inability for flight. Which obviously Gambit can't fly, but they both can. I really like it. They're back and forth. It's great. Anyway, they land in Genosha, and it looks awesome. Everyone's like celebrating. There's like great music playing there. It's just so much fun. And also when they get there, they're meeting with the clone Rogue, the clone of Jean Grey. Madeline Pryor is there, and her and Rogue start talking, and Magneto, and basically they go and say that they want the Genosha Council is going to want to meet with Magneto before some big meeting with the UN later on, now that they're going to be accepted. And while that's going on, Nightcrawler shows up. Yes, I love Nightcrawler. He's back. He's the leader of some sort of a faith group for the UN. But anyway, Kurt's back. He's a lot of fun. One of my favorite X-Men. He's got the BAMF ability where he just appears and disappears places anywhere he can see. I love using him in the games too. Like he was a lot of fun in X-Men Legends. But they go with him, and they head on down around to the town, and they're kind of checking things out. And you really get a feel of the Genosha nation, all these different mutants with all these different powers and looks, all just living free, having fun. It's awesome. Gambit kind of notices, like, I noticed also an apple costs $10, so that's a little bit, and they're like, well, regime change is hard. There's going to be some things. And Gambit's like, yeah, or maybe I'm the only one asking questions like, why apples are that much, right? But so he doesn't really trust the whole thing, and you can't blame him. He's never been there before. But the Morlocks are there. Remember that Magneto got them flown there before, so they're all there. They're doing well. But it's honestly, it's great, and the amount of mutants you see is really cool. So while that's going on down there, they're Nightcrawler and them having a good time. Magneto is up there getting a meeting with the Genosha Council, and they're so Rogue and Gambit and Nightcrawler having a laugh. Magneto meeting with the council, and it's a bunch of mutants, right? And like one human. And Emma Frost is there, and they're all talking like, hey, what we brought you here for is we want you to be the leader. And he's like, I was pretty surprised to get an invitation with the UN letters on it, because obviously he's Magneto, right? But yeah, he got it, and and so they're like, yeah, we actually want you to be the leader, the head. And he's like, are you serious? Like, I've been a terrorist, and they're not going to trust me, and this and that. And they're like, oh no, well, this is what we've kind of chosen, and we get to pick, right? And like, we're expecting the UN to honor this, like they honor everyone's nation's leader. And then Magneto has some cool quotes in here, gives a nice speech, and they pretty much say, like, I think Emma says it's as Xavier would say, you're now in charge of the X-Men, and it's time to dream bigger. So that gets Magneto on board, and he says, yeah, I'll do it, but only on one condition. He wants an X-Men to be with him. He wants Rogue to be the one that will join him to kind of keep him in line, right? And they had been an item before, which we're going to hear more about in a minute here, but so that's his one stipulation for taking the leadership. And then while that's going on, back at the X-Men mansion, you see Jean and Wolverine, and they had kind of skipped the questions from earlier. And Jean's in there sorting through her memories. She doesn't know which ones are hers, which ones are the clones, and she doesn't know if she feels like she loves Scott Cyclops, or if it's just memories of her loving him. She doesn't know which ones are hers or not. And like her and Wolverine kind of kiss, and Wolverine's like, whoa, like, you are Jean Grey, that's Scott Summers, you guys are together. Like, you just kind of lost that for a second. Even though he loves her, he knows, not to do that, right? Not that way type thing. Because also in that time, there's a lot of Jean and Cyclops drama. And we find out that, well, it's pretty crazy because he was in there having a conversation with Jean. I thought they were kind of working it out. They were holding hands, talking about their memories. And then, she said, describe Nathan. He said, I see his face everywhere. And then the real Jean Grey bursts in, like you realize it's a mental image, and she's like, oh yeah, make up an excuse for this one, and drives Madeline Pryor out. And she goes back, and she's on the Genosha Council. And they're like, where were you? She's like, oh, just my mind wandered for a second. And then Cyclops and Jean kind of have it out. They have a fight, and he's saying, like, I'm sorry, I'm just in pain. At the end of the day, she definitely is the mother of my kid, and we both lost our son. And Jean's like, but I love you too. I could have been the Phoenix. I gave up so much for you. So there's a lot of pain. Like, it's pretty deep, right? There's a lot of that in this episode. So it's just a lot of drama for them to try to work out. They're in a rough position because she doesn't know, and he don't know when she was switched, when Mr. Sinister brought in the clone. And she's upset that he kind of loved the clone, but he didn't know, right? And it's an exact copy, right? She even has all the same powers. So, yeah, they still have kind of a closeness there. And he said it's been going on for like a month. So kind of makes Wolverine kiss not look as bad. Then Cyclops kind of says, well, do you even love me, or do you just feel the love for me? And so, yeah, they kind of separate, but like they're going to hopefully work that out. And then it cuts over, like, so Rogue has, kind of found out what Magneto has done, and said that he'd only take leadership with her. She's pretty mad at him, gets upset, like, was this your plan the whole time to take control? He's like, no, this was Charles' plan. But he's not going to deny that, he had a good time with her before. So then she goes and tells Gambit, like, hey, she wants to let him know about what's going on. And she says that in the past, yeah, her mom actually brought her and Magneto together. She wanted to learn from him, and he opened her eyes to a whole bunch of things, like a mutant future utopia type thing. And actually, because of Magneto's powers, they can touch. Which, of course, for her, I mean, there's almost no one she can touch, right? So that led to other things. So, it's all in the past. And then she said when she joined the X-Men, he told her, like, not to mention it. He didn't want her to lose another family. And they sort of went on from there. But now, they're he's back, and she's thinking about getting back with him. And he kind of still likes her. So, but it's more about, can she do a lot of good for mutants by, him and her being the leaders of that nation, right? Because she's a really good mutant. She thinks she can, enact change. So she decides she's going to do it. Gambit's super upset, but he also, he kind of understands, I guess, but he's not happy. He even says, like, I took second fiddle. I didn't tell anyone about our relationship. And she's like, yeah, and I was your share, but I could never meet up to the standards because we can't touch. I think the touching thing's a big thing. But anyway, so then she decides to join Magneto. So she goes back to Genosha, where they're having this big ball. And they're not sure if she's going to join him or not. But then she comes in, and what an entrance she makes. She's wearing like a beautiful dress. She's all done up. She's flying in over the stairs. Magneto flies up to meet her, and they do like a flying dance in the ballroom in front of everyone. And Gambit's there. Like, it's it's a lot of fun. I really liked it, and there was some good music playing and stuff. It was a good time, and you get to see all the X-Men and all the mutants dressed up in their outfits and stuff. Really, really nice. But anyway, yeah, Rogue ultimately decides that, nah, she's not going to go with Magneto. This isn't the right way. Because Gambit says earlier, it's only skin deep, like the love. And she realizes that, yeah, she really loves Gambit, not Magneto. So she's not going to do this. But then it doesn't really matter anyway, because Jean Grey is outside and you see Cable show up. And if you've read the comics, you know Cable. It's Nathan Summers. That's their that's her son. So he's like, you got to get out of here, Mom. They're coming. And she's like, oh my God. Well, I don't think he says Mom. She's like, oh, she looks at the eyes. And he's like, I think, she knows who it is. And he says like Mom. And then the whole ground starts shaking. And like, this is when the episode just goes level 10 awesome. You get the biggest Sentinel I've ever seen, even bigger than Master Mold, and it has like multiple heads like a Quintesson, spinning them around, shooting big green beams out of its mouth, and it is destroying the place. It's not even built like a Sentinel. It has like 4 legs on its body. It's like I said, a Godzilla Sentinel, Gambit calls it. Anyone gets close to it dies, and it starts destroying everything, and it's dropping Sentinels all over the place. It's so crazy to see, and it's killing everyone it runs into. And there's all kinds of dead mutants, and they realize they all got to try to escape. But they said the Morlocks are trapped pretty much right under where it's going to be. So Magneto says, that's it, let's go. We got to try to save them. We got to try to save them all. We don't want to ask later how many we could have saved. Like, he really comes off like a hero, and he goes off to do it. But he always did in the sense to the mutants, even with the Brotherhood of Mutants. He really did care about the mutants. So he goes to save them all, and the fights are just great. And there's an awesome Gambit and Rogue team up. Like, they are going, like, she's flying through the air. He's riding like a motorbike and stuff. He's cutting off heads, throwing cards. She literally kicks a Sentinel back into a building. She is awesome. Everything was great. It was fast moving action. The animation's still fantastic, but they have a lot of really, really cool moments. And then they cut over to Magneto, and he's like fighting that giant, like, Quintesson triple head monster, and it's trying to kill all the Morlocks, and he's there, and it's just him holding up a shield against it with his magnetic powers, and it's pretty much going to kill him, overwhelm. They can't stop it. It's too powerful for anyone to do anything, right? They even mentioned they throw everything at it, and they can't even dent it. Magneto at one point beats it with an entire train, starts smacking it in the head and everything, and he still can't stop it. And after that, like I said, he just gets stuck trying to defend the Morlocks, and it just keeps shooting its big beam at him, like, into the ground. And he looks over at Leech, and he tells him, like, don't be afraid. And then the beam smashes into them, like, it's, and the Sentinel goes, Omega level threat defeated. And it cuts away, and Magneto is, like, there, like, dead. You don't see the other bodies, but you see him down. So, like, I was like, wow. You just, like, end Magneto? I don't think so myself. Like, Storm's already gone. We got Xavier gone, Magneto down. Nightcrawler got hurt trying to save Rogue and Gambit earlier, but he ends up being okay. But he got pretty badly injured when the Sentinels came in. Like I said, it was a chaotic fight. Like, it's something to see. You got to watch the episode. And so then you think Magneto's dead. Rogue's like going, I'm going to kill that Sentinel thing. And Gambit has to like sacrifice a bike. Hits her with the side of the bike so that she doesn't get killed by it. It's a pretty cool moment. And they had a pretty deep conversation earlier. They obviously really love each other. And she did choose him. But anyway, then that Godzilla Sentinel is still going around destroying everything in the whole city, and like nobody can stop it. No one's powers are doing anything. And then basically it looks like it's gonna kill Gambit. Like, he flies a motorbike through the air and stuff, and anyway, he's trying to kill it, and it stabs him through the side with this big long like cord. Oh, it was pretty cool looking, and it like brings it up around to like one of the faces, and it's like, oh, another one dead, and Gambit kind of smiles, and like he's like, no, my name is Gambit, don't forget it. And his power obviously is if he holds on to something, he can make it explode. So you see it go down through the Godzilla Sentinel, and like the explosion is crazy. It's like, bro, he goes flying, the whole screen lights up, and then it's like, wow, everyone's like just shocked. It's obviously dead. The death toll is insane. Like, I don't know how many people are gone, but it seems like a lot. There's a high death count. Like I said, we've already lost Xavier, and Gambit is now, he goes out and hits the ground, like, and it ends pretty much after that. There's no real fighting, but Rogue comes up and she sees Gambit's body, and she's so upset, and she goes over and she like touches him, and like with her actual hands, she just says like, I can't feel you. Like he's it was so sad. The music's really sad. Like, and it's another X-Men down. Like I said, Storm's power's gone. Magneto looks like he's down now. Xavier's out. Now it looks like Gambit's going to be out. Although I think Magneto's going to come back. I think there's going to be a play with Leech. He can depress powers or whatever and things like that. So he may have made it look like maybe, I don't know for sure. Something could have happened, right? But anyway, it was an awesome episode. I was like on the edge of my seat once I got halfway through. Lots of deep emotional moments, but like the action was crazy and the stakes were so high. Like they're just there. They are not afraid to really hurt or potentially kill characters. Can't wait to see where they go with this. Like I said, highly recommend this. If you like the old show, it's a continuation and it's improved it in a lot of ways. Actually, I'm really enjoying it. I think the showrunner Bodemir, he did a great job. Just fantastic and very nostalgic for me. Right? It's something that reminds me of the old times, and it's great to watch it now. So, anyways, thank you so much for your time. If you watched this far, really appreciate that, and please like and subscribe and stay out of trouble, everybody.